Washington Grown is made possible by funding from the Washington State Department of Agriculture and the USDA Specialty Crop Block Grant Program. And by the Potato Farmers of Washington. Learn why Washington is home to the world's most productive potato fields and farmers by visiting potatoes.com.
On this special season of Washington Grown, we're following Washington produce around the world.
Here we go.
I mean, there's just stuff happening everywhere.
Breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
Yeah.
I'm doing all the work over here.
That's a Tomas Deluxe. All good things are better shared, right?
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers.
I can't even walk.
We got a lot to explore and a lot to do, so let's get to it.
To Washington.
To Washington. Hi everyone, I'm Christy Gorson and welcome to Washington Grown from a wine importer in Vietnam. Now we know Washington wines are very special, but the secret is out. Washington wines are beloved here in Vietnam and around the world. In this episode, we're going to show you why.
I'm helping out at Horse Heaven Hills winemaking facility.
Can I screw this up?
You might.
And I'm making oyster tacos with rhubarb salsa at Duke's Seafood in Seattle.
Probably should wait a second.
I have definitely burned my mouth before on things like that.
Then we're visiting a wine shop in Vietnam.
I like the Riesling too. I like the Chardonnay as well. And the Merlot. And I like them all.
All this and more today on Washington Grown. One of the many magical things about Washington State is its absolutely stunning waterfront views. And being so close to the ocean means fresh seafood. Here at Duke's Seafood in South Lake Union, they're taking full advantage of the freshness of the Evergreen State.
Oh, you have to come to Duke's. You have to come to Duke's.
It's the one place when I want a really, really good meal that's fresh, it's high quality.
The view is fabulous. And the vibe, it's just really nice.
Chef Amanda Herrera gets excited about fresh food from the water and on land. The variety of Washington produce creates many unique opportunities to delight her guests.
We don't like to take ourselves too seriously here, but we're serious about serving really good food, sourcing well, and giving you great drinks.
Duke's has got to be the quintessential Seattle seafood place to go to.
We did have stuffed shrimp, but now I'm stuffed.
It just feels like home when you eat it, honestly. It's just like, oh, so good.
You know, using more local ingredients, you do taste the difference. It's nice to know that it's not coming from across the country to get to you that you're serving. So
don't miss later in the show when Chef Amanda and I make oyster tacos with rhubarb salsa.
You know what one of my favorite ingredients is? Wine.
I mean, it's a good ingredient, that's for sure.
Washington has all 4 seasons, and that includes hot summers. But these scorching days are perfect for growing amazing wine grapes. That's why we're braving the heat at the Canoe Ridge Estate Vineyard. Chateau San Michel's Vice President of Winemaking, Katie Nelson, is showing us what makes this area so perfect for wine grapes.
The Horse Heaven Hills is an AVA that was established in 2005. You know, there's some really unique characteristics about Horse Heaven Hills, and what an AVA is it has, kind of a defined set of characteristics which separate it from other growing areas. So wind, of course, it's not very windy today.
Not at the moment. It's very hot though.
But usually it's very windy, and that kind of shuts down the vines to protect themselves from water loss. So it makes for really concentrated, bold wines. During the summer months, we get really long, sunny days, so we'll get very long daylight hours.
Okay.
Depending on the variety, grapes are usually ready for harvest in the late part of the summer or early fall.
So how far away are these guys from being harvested?
Probably about a month, maybe 5 weeks. You taste more acidity, and you can get kind of a little bit more green methoxypyrazines, which is like bell pepper right now, but that'll go away as they ripen, and it'll just be really fruity. When these are ripe, they're a lot sweeter than the grapes that you'd get in the grocery store.
Oh, really?
My kids absolutely love wine grapes because sugar converts into alcohol. So we want
there we go.
an alcohol in our red wines
Exactly.
of 13 to 14.5%.
Before long, the 110-degree heat started getting to me a little.
The sweat just
I
started
know.
to pour off of me all of a sudden. Oh, there we go.
You need it really close.
To get out of the heat, Katie and I went inside to their winemaking facility.
This is amazing and nice and cool.
So this is our cellar. We're getting all cleaned up and ready for harvest, but in 2 to 3 weeks, we're gonna have a ton going on here. A lot of people working, the grapes will be coming in, we'll be running them through a sorter, crushing them and putting them in the tank, and where we add the yeast and start the fermentation process.
So this is going to be super busy with action during
Yep,
harvest.
wine going everywhere.
Well, it's no wonder, though, that your wines go all over the world. Where do you go?
So we're in 50 states and 60 countries
That's
around the
amazing.
world. Yeah, so people enjoy our wine all
Yeah.
over. All different
Does that feel
cuisines.
good?
It does. That's my favorite part about what I do. Just knowing that, somebody's going to be drinking them in another country on vacation with their food.
so cool.
It's great to reach so many people.
It wasn't long before I was recruited into the job of racking wine from a barrel into a tank.
Can I screw this up?
You might.
So I'll follow you.
Okay, so you're going to pull up on it, release the pressure, right?
Yeah.
Lift it up out of the barrel.
You need some muscles for this job.
Now we're going to put it in the barrel.
Oh, I see it does
Displaces
come
some
out.
wine. Push it in there.
Okay.
So it creates a good seal. Okay, and then open the valve here.
I'm afraid. Valve
Turn
is,
the-
oh, supposed to sound like that?
We did it. It's on its way.
Okay.
So there's 59 gallons of wine in here, and you just spilled
Going
a little
somewhere.
bit. No, I'm just-
And I just spilled a little bit.
So it's a form of clarifying. So the lees and dead yeast and little particulates settle out in the barrel, and we're taking the clean wine off the top.
Awesome.
And leaving what's behind. So we rinse that out, and then we go back to barrel. And as you do that, that's a form of just clarifying your wine so it's clean in the bottle. Let's do a barrel tasting.
Okay.
We typically do that after we put a blend together. We'll come out and taste from each barrel because each barrel imparts different flavors depending on the forest and the toast and how long the wood staves have aged or seasoned. This is a Cabernet.
Okay.
2022 vintage.
Smells
So
good.
picked last year.
I'm just doing what you do.
I'm getting
What
a
are
lot
you
of
smelling?
dark fruit, like
Okay.
blackberry, black cherry, roasted nuts, a little tobacco.
I mean, I'm getting none of that, but I'm not an expert. I think it smells really good. I do get like a toastiness to it.
It's big. It's going to age another year, which will soften the tannins.
Yeah.
Really well balanced.
So why did you decide to get into winemaking?
I grew up in Illinois. My great-grandfather was Italian, and he made wine in his basement.
Oh, fun.
So wine, we had to go to these Sunday dinners every single week for hours and hours, and we'd eat courses of pasta, and wine was always just part of those lively family gatherings. And
lovely.
I just remember thinking, I loved how it brought everybody together. I loved how it brought, the farming and the science and the art all together.
Right.
And no 2 days are ever the same in the wine business and being a winemaker, which is also really fun. I've been making wine for almost 30 years, and
Oh my
no two
goodness.
vintages are ever the same.
Yeah.
And Mother Nature always throws curveballs, so it's always a challenge.
So
All
when
different
we
areas.
open up a bottle like this, we can think of you. Thank you, Katie. We appreciate you.
One of the coolest things about wine is being able to compare different varieties and tastes, and Washington State has that covered in spades. With its amazing grape growing regions, it's hard to decide which wines to taste. That's why today I visited Rapport on Capitol Hill, where owner David Clausen is shaking up the world of wine tasting with this self-pour wine concept.
This is pretty unique. So it's just like
in fact, we're pretty much the first place in Washington State doing this type of thing for wines on tap. We have 80 wines, so no lack of choices.
All right.
Some amazing Washington wines, but also really kind of the whole world of wine here. So you can get like just a little taster pour, you can get a half glass, you can get a full glass.
So if I just want to taste this, I bring up my glass and I just hit the button?
Yeah, perfect.
Hey,
There you go.
look at
You're
that.
already an expert.
This really allows your your imagination to just go wild and try things from all over
Yeah,
the state, all over the world.
No, exactly. That's the point. A fun way of making wine more fun.
Yeah, I like that.
And you know, I think like that's the problem with wine. Like, you know, sometimes it can be a bit intimidating.
A little stuffy,
you know,
maybe.
stuffy, exactly.
Yeah.
All these like, you know, hard to pronounce things and
Right.
names and whatnot. You know, none of that makes it more relaxing. And we want it to be fun, relaxing, you know, just a good time. You happen to have wandered past one of our high-end real estate sections, you might say. These
Okay.
are rare wines. Some of these bottles are $100, $200, $500, what have you.
Right.
And there's a chance, like, even if you don't get a full glass, you can get a little taster pour. You know, that's affordable.
Right.
And just try something pretty amazing.
Well, you know what they say, when in Rome, I had to try one of these expensive wines. And the Cayuse from Walla Walla definitely caught my attention.
Wow. It's very fragrant. It almost has like a minty kind of brightness to it. If you want to try a $500 bottle of wine, but you just can't do it, come here, get yourself an ounce or two, and then you can say you've tried it.
So this is a super cool sparkling wine from a winemaker called Jay Anderson. This one is actually part wine, part cider.
Okay, well.
Made actually, in this case, not with apples, but with pears, and then Riesling grapes of all things.
Let's check this out.
So let's give it a try.
Oh, look at that.
First of all, cheers.
Cheers.
What I like to say, my highest compliment, highly drinkable.
Well, and dangerously drinkable.
Even better.
What is it about places like this that are just a necessity?
It's all about like socializing, being that kind of third place home, you know, where you go out with your friends. That's what we're trying to create here. Again, just a great fun time. What I love about, you know, people in Washington is they're curious about wine. You know, we're obviously in a big wine producing state.
Yeah.
You know, there's definitely like some amazing, you know, full-bodied red wines that we're known for making, but at the same time, lots of up-and-coming, smaller producers. So just that kind of excitement, and you know, you see that in the customers too.
See these barrels behind me? How many bottles do you think each one of these holds? I'll let you know right after the break.
Coming up, I'm at Duke's Seafood in Seattle making oyster tacos with rhubarb salsa.
You know what one of my favorite ingredients is? Wine.
I mean, it's a good ingredient.
It's a good ingredient.
And we're in the kitchen at Second Harvest trying Chef Laurent's homemade Boursin cheese.
So each one of these barrels holds 300 of these bottles of wine.
We're back at Duke's Seafood in South Lake Union. Phenomenal views and even more incredible food means the guests always leave with a full belly and a smile on their face.
We want to try everything because it all looks so good.
The scenery's been perfect. It's just been delightful.
If I want like a good seafood meal, I come to Duke's.
We really focus on using local and organic products here.
Chef Amanda Herrera keeps an eye on the season, catering the menu to make sure fresh, Washington-grown produce complements her menu perfectly.
We are serving Washington asparagus as our seasonal vegetable. I'm really looking forward to zucchini season. When the berries come into play here in the summertime, those will be featured on some seafood dishes as well.
You have it all.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
And what pairs better with seafood than wine?
We have really cultivated a lot of relationships with Washington wineries. We actually have on our boutique wine list that's on our menu is all Washington wines.
Nice.
The large variety that we have here in this state of the wines that we actually produce here, it really lends itself to be able to go with a variety of different foods. This wine in particular, it's from Chateau Ste. Michelle, which everyone knows about.
Yeah, we love it.
And this one is from Horse Heaven Hills Vineyard. It's a Sauvignon Blanc. I think it's delicious. I think it's going to pair really nicely later with the dish that we're making.
What are you and I going to make today?
Today we're going to prepare a pan-fried oyster taco with a pickled rhubarb salsa.
Ooh, springy.
Yes, I'm excited to see what you think about it.
And then we're going to pair it with some Washington wine,
And I think it's
too.
going to go great with the Sauvignon Blanc here.
Okay. Well, cheers. I can't wait. Thank
Cheers.
you so much.
You're welcome.
I see you have these oysters, but these are gorgeous.
Yes.
Tell me about these.
These are two types of oysters. The bigger one is a Pacific oyster,
Okay.
all grown here.
Yeah.
And the smaller ones are Takaras.
Takaras, okay.
Yes, so a little bit smaller.
Okay, let's get started.
Perfect.
I started chopping some rhubarb for the salsa while Chef breads the oysters.
So I don't think I've ever thought of rhubarb and oysters in the same realm before. How does that work?
I live down by a bunch of farms down in Pierce County, and there's so many rhubarb,
Yeah.
bushes growing right now.
Absolutely.
And I love rhubarb, and I love it pickled.
Yeah.
And I thought it would be a nice combo.
We put our rhubarb into a bowl with salt, honey, rice wine vinegar, and water and let it pickle overnight. Next, we add red onion, cilantro, jalapeno, salt, cumin, and olive oil in with the rhubarb and mix it up.
What a good idea. I never would think rhubarb in a salsa.
Well, and I think a lot of people associate rhhubarb with desserts or something sweet. It's always been a favorite ingredient of mine since I was a young girl. My grandma made a rhubarb pie that I just always loved. So,
you know what one of my favorite ingredients is? Wine.
I mean, it's a good ingredient. That's for sure.
Good ingredient.
Now we fry the oysters.
What is it about white wine that goes well with some of these flavors?
Sure.
The
white wines, especially like a Sauvignon Blanc, has that acidic crispiness taste to it. So it just pairs well. I mean, you have the acidity coming from the pickled rhubarb, and so they complement each other. It's like when you have a margarita and you have that lime, it helps cut through some of the fat that's coming in too.
These are hearty.
Yes, definitely
With
a hearty
2
taco,
oysters.
and that's kind of the Duke's way.
The Duke's way.
We add some avocado crema and our rhubarb salsa, and then it's time to eat. Almost.
Probably should have
I have definitely burned my mouth before on things like that. Well, cheers. We'll have a little taste of this first.
Cheers.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's really good.
It is really good, isn't
Yeah,
it?
but we need to eat some food too.
Yes, we do.
Gonna make a huge mess.
You too.
Okay, dig in.
Okay.
That's really good. The tartness from the salsa on top, really, really good.
Yes. Tastes like the Northwest.
It does. What a great way to use rhubarb, because everybody has rhubarb in their backyard just about. And what a great way to, showcase our Washington oysters and the wine.
Almost brings out the a little bit more of the fruitiness of the wine the second go around.
You're right.
Yes.
Very, very good. I'm gonna have another bite.
Perfect.
Dig in.
To get the recipe for Duke's oyster tacos with rhubarb salsa, visit us at wagrown.com. Coming up, we're visiting a Vietnamese wine shop that loves Washington wines almost as much as I do.
I like the Riesling too. I like the Chardonnay as well. And the Merlot. And I like them all.
We went to many places on our trip to Vietnam, and when we were scheduled to meet with wine importers Foodie Group, we never expected the warm welcome we were met with. This tiny shop in Ho Chi Minh City was filled with people happy to talk about Washington wine. But perhaps the most excited of all was the matron of the house, Miss Ngoc Din.
And I feel like I'm at home because I'm surrounded by Washington wine. Thank you for having us. How long have you been doing this? How long have you been in the business?
Tôi làm về rượu này đã 30 năm.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, good job.
I working before wine about I'm young, very young.
When you were very young.
Foodie is a family operation, which means her sons are very involved in the business.
10 years ago, nobody know about Washington wine. When they talk about American wine, they just talk about Napa Valley. We choose Washington wine also because we think like, okay, nobody knows, so we can be the best.
It's only been within the past 10 years or so that the people of Vietnam have really begun enjoying wine. As a relatively new beverage in the country, Foodie Group has been influential in showing people how amazing wine can be. With help from partnerships, they're importing great wine from around the world.
My name is Nishide from the Kame Corporation. The Kame Corporation is a trading company in Japan. When I visited Vietnam first time, I was surprised for the Vietnamese prefer to drink the beer. Right. However, some people can drink the wine. And everybody happy to drink. Wow, incredible.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite Washington wine?
I would love for the Riesling.
I like the Riesling too.
Oh, good.
I like the Chardonnay as well. And the Brillo. And I like them all.
Before in 1992, you know, in Vietnam, they don't know anything about wine.
Yeah.
When they sing the wine, they sing, what is this here?
Yeah. What is this?
Yeah, they don't understand where it's made from. So, I mean, like, they don't understand anything. But my mom is the first lady importing the wine into Vietnam.
It sounds like the people of Vietnam are learning a lot about wine.
Because of my mom, I think.
Yeah.
It is
Because
true.
of your mom.
It is true. It is true. See, the first lady, I'm really proud of my mom. It is true.
Yeah.
She the first lady to import her wine.
That's incredible. Girl power.
Yeah, girls power.
Before we left, we sat down with F11E's sommelier wine specialist.
I'm Jean-Bernard Baudron, I'm French, and I'm a sommelier. Washington State are producing very amazing good wine, thanks to the climate, which gives a lot of freshness, a lot of elegance to the wine. So I love very much this wine, especially this brand.
Although we're far from home, it's never a bad time to try some Washington-grown Chateau Saint Michelle sparkling wine.
Talking is good, but tasting
Drinking
is
is
much
better.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, cheers.
Tell me, yes, cheers.
So you can see we have a very nice pale yellow color, nice bubble, very tiny bubble.
Yeah.
So this is sign of quality for the sparkling wine. Very fresh, very citrusy, green apple, a lot of freshness. Very nice texture.
Easy.
Easy,
to drink.
easy. The bubbles are
Right.
creamy, a lot of creaminess.
Yeah.
It's very smooth.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Pleasure to meet you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
We are in the kitchen at Second Harvest Food Bank in Spokane, and I'm here with my awesome taste testers. We have Chef Laurent Zarate, thank you again.
Christy. Always a
and
pleasure.
my co-host Tomas.
Indeed.
Hello.
It's a pleasure to be here with
I love
you.
it when they put wine in front of me.
No, it's the best episode.
It's so
Right?
great. Yes. And so we have a Chateau Saint Michelle. It's their Horse Heaven Hills Sauv Blanc, which is amazing. Basically, we've followed this wine
You did.
all over the world. We went to the vineyard and saw the grapes.
On a
and
very
we got
hot
to
day.
See, on a very hot day. We got to see in Vietnam how much they are loving Washington wine specifically. They had gift boxes and, you know, they'd put Washington pears together with our Washington wine. And, you know, that's how people would celebrate Tet, you know, the New Year celebration there. It was really awesome to see.
You must feel proud to see that and coming from that
for
beautiful
sure.
state and saying,
to see these products go and take on a life of their own that you don't even realize. You see them in a store. Okay, great. I'll have some wine with my fish. But then you see how other countries take these products and transform them and make gift boxes,
And
like you
celebrate
said.
them.
Yeah, and celebrate them.
Like-
It's just fun to see.
Yeah, I mean, we're like, we love Washington wine and we know that it's delicious, but to see it being celebrated in other parts of the world was really cool, and I love the wine. And
yes,
we're going to pair some food with it.
Yes, we decided to pair it with cheese, obviously. A lot of people will tell you, well, you know, I'm going to have a red glass of wine with my cheese. But some cheese are not meant to have red wine in pairing.
Yeah.
And especially this is a kind of a goat cheese. It is Boursin. Boursin is a brand.
Yes.
But we're not buying the brand. We are making our own mix from goat cheese. I feel that goat cheese is very acidic. Right, it has that tartness, and it goes great with a white wine, especially with a Sauvignon Blanc.
So this is the one.
Love it.
This
okay.
is the one, exactly.
All right,
We'll try that.
Yeah, we're going to see how it's made.
Yes. smells good.
It does. It smells really fresh and herby. And
I feel so sophisticated with
you
this.
are so sophisticated.
With the wine. It's 8 a.m. We're having wine, right?
Exactly.
Don't tell them that it's 8 a.m.
The tang of the goat cheese is there, but it's not overpowering.
No, and you'll see.
I love that freshness.
The
of
wine
the
will
herbs in
balance
there.
that top, you know.
Let's follow it up.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
So if you're not sure how it tastes,
that's great.
You go again,
Yeah.
and again,
And again, until you need a refill.
Exactly. That's the idea.
It goes so great. It pairs so well.
Yeah, that's nice.
Because the goat cheese is, like you said, it has tang, but it's also
Yes.
rich too.
It is very rich.
And so this kind of
lightens it up a
pairs
little
it
bit.
down, and then I love this. This is so good.
It's so good. And I feel like after we're done here, we'll need to step to the library for cigars and port.
You're feeling fancy, aren't you? Tomas is feeling very fancy. If you would like to try this recipe, just go to wagrown.com. You can only find these recipes on our website. So thank you so much for this,
You're very
Laurent.
welcome.
Yes.
Santé.
And santé. Cheers to you. To Wagrown.
To get the recipe for Chef Laurent Zarati's homemade Boursin cheese, visit us at wagrown.com.
Washington wine is special from the vineyard to the winemaker to the importer to the glass, all the way across the ocean. That's it for this episode of Washington Grown. We'll see you next time.